serving Borrego Valley and the entire San Diego County Bat Country. We are the ramradio.com. Ladies and gentlemen, the moment has arrived. You've been waiting for it all day, and you know exactly what you want to hear. Without further ado, we present Michael R. Lawrence. And indeed, it is me, Michael R. Lawrence, as the introduction just so beautifully and musically sang to you. This is Michael R. Lawrence of Borrego Valley Community Radio, The Ram. That is what you're listening to, your hyper-local, The Ram. And I have a Borrego original with me once again, Denny Duvall. Hey, Denny.
Hey, what's up, Mike?
Yeah, he's in here again because we talked to him, as if you heard the previous interview, he was in here and talked about the history of Borrego, the old Borrego history, and it's kind of his living here back in those days when it was 1R and located at a whole different location. And we want to talk a little bit about some other parts of him. There are lots of parts to Denny. It's really kind of neat. So, yeah, let's see, what do we do? Well, it's a couple things. So Denny has a book. It is called That's My Story, and I'm sticking to it. And it is a collection of his columns when he wrote for the Borrego Sun newspaper back in the day. And it's a fantastic read. It's not a storybook that has a beginning and an end. It has all these various columns, and it's just nice. It's really nice reading. I like it a lot. And how long ago did you write that one? This one?
Let's see. I published it in 2021. Okay.
Yeah, because it was fairly new, I think, when I met you.
Yeah.
You had just come out and got the publishing done and everything.
Right.
Now, first off, I'm going to say this right now, and then we'll say it again later. I know that you could get it at Ellen's Graphics You Can Trust shop, but that shop is unfortunately closing down. Where can you get your book?
Well, at the moment, it's kind of in limbo. I'm changing publishers, but it will be available. I don't know whether it will be through my publisher or Amazon or both. I'm getting some magnetic signs to put on the panel truck, or Henry as I call him, and there will be information on that. The truck will be seen around town or wherever I happen to be here when I go to town to get a quart of milk or whatever. So at the moment, it's kind of in limbo, but hopefully get it out here pretty soon.
Okay, yeah. And I'm going to mention just one thing because we'll talk about this. Ellen Fitzpatrick has operated Graphics You Can Trust for a number of years out of the mall, and she is choosing to live her best life and retire, which is a wonderful choice for her to make. But she and Denny worked together at the Sun a long time ago, and I believe she had something to do with you writing there. But we're going to find out about all of that. So where do we start? I mean, let's start at the Sun.
Well, in 2000, I had started going to Cruising Grand, and I had written 3 very short stories. By that, I mean one was 5 pages, the other was 4, and I would put them side by side. And I had the original story and then 2 secondary stories, but all 3 of them were written from the truck's point of view. And it was kind of fun because there would be anywhere from 15 to 20 people standing on the sidewalk beside the truck trying to read over each other's head to read the 2 stories. I'd only put up 2 of the 3 because 3 was too much reading. And that was kind of how I got started. So several years later, I stopped by the Borrego Sun, and Ellen was the editor at the Borrego Sun then. And there was quite a few people working there. I think we had between 8 and 11 people on payroll. Some were writers that were paid, and others were paid piecework. And she really contributed to my writing. She was a person that really encouraged me to write. And she would insist on being the one that did the editing. And she is an excellent editor because she didn't take all the Denny out of my articles. Mm-hmm. And that's hard. You can get stuff edited to death, and then it's about as fun to read as the phone directory.
Yeah.
But Alan was excellent at that and encouraged me. And I think I ended up writing 100 local columns about Borrego and Julian and San Isabel and whatever. And then I walked in her office one day and I said, I'd like to start a column. And she says, great. What's it gonna be? And I said, well, it's going to be Henry's column. And she said, I didn't know Henry could write. I says, well, sort of. And so she said, well, what's it going to be about? And I said, I think it'll be about vintage cars, antiques, classics, stuff like that. So I started writing, and she really thought it was a fun read. And I published 101 or 2 columns of Henry the Truck. And then 4 years into that 8 years of Henry the Truck, I walked into her office once again and said, I think I want to have 2 columns. And she said, well, what's that going to be about? And I said, well, it's, I'm just going to call it Denny's Desk, and it's going to be 500 words of history, experiences, observations, things that have happened in my life, and things like that. And she said, well, is Henry going to write that one? I said, no, I'll write one for Henry and one for me. And she said, well, it sounds good. And anyway, thanks to a lot of encouragement from her, both columns were actually very successful. Awesome. And really contributed to my ability to write and everything.
Well, that's great. I mean, no, that's, and from what I've looked at, and of course I have the memory of a squirrel, so I can't even cite anything. It's really terrible. It's just I know that it was really nice to read through, and it's a great insight. And no, it would have been tragic to have the Denny removed from that because it wouldn't be what it is as a really fun read. Well, Henry the Truck. Does anybody know who that is? So I would love for Denny right now. Would you love to tell people who is Henry?
Well, in 1960, there was an older gentleman that lived over in Ocotillo Wells. His name was Wally Fair. And he was probably in his 70s, maybe. And in fact, I think the cabin's still there, or maybe they tore it down. It was just to the east of Pearl Bend. And he had a high-wing 2-seater plane that he liked to fly. And he had bought the truck. I don't know if he bought it new, but anyway, he had the truck. And the truck was 10 years old. The motor was froze up and hadn't been running for quite a while. And he had asked me if I wanted to buy it. And I said, yeah, because I had a collection of old cars. And so he said, well, I want $35 for that truck, And I said, well, okay. So I went over to the Ensign Ranch, and a kid that I grew up with, his name was Richard Davis, and his dad, Tom Davis, was the manager of the Ensign Ranch, which is now Borrego Springs Park and the hotel and the Arches restaurant and all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. So I told Richard, I said, hey, let's go in together on this truck, and we can get it running or just turn it or turn it like it is, not running or whatever. And so I kept waiting for him to come up with his $17.50. And a couple of weeks go by, and Wally comes by the store, and he says, Denny, are you going to get that truck or what? He said, if it isn't gone this weekend, it's going to the junkyard. So I said, I'll be over there and get it. So I went over to the Ensign Ranch and asked Richard, I said, you going to come up with your $17.50 or what? Well, I don't know. So I said, okay, I'll just do it without you. So anyway, I bought it. And then I bought an old 51 Ford at Meat and Ampa restaurant, which is right near the Circle there. building's still there. It's not a restaurant. And it had been rolled over. The top was even with the windowsills on the car. And I paid $15 for that, towed it home. And I couldn't even get the hood open. It was so mangled up. And anyway, I ended up taking that engine out. It ran good. I was cleaning pools for Bruce Hyde. And my pool route, I was putting about 100 miles a day on that truck.
Okay.
And that $15 engine lasted 2 years, and it went out.
Oh.
And I found another flathead 6, and that didn't last very long. And I went through 2 flathead V8s. They weren't too good to begin with. And so with that, I would say by 62 or somewhere in there, I had switched over to Chevy motors. And I continued with the different variations of Chevys. In fact, I even had a 250 Chevy inline 6 in it for a while.
Wow.
So I had 350s, 283s, I had a 305, and I had a 400 small block. And then in 2003, I put a brand new crate motor in it, and from GM, and it was called a Ramjet 350. It was fuel injected. It was 350 horsepower and computer controlled. And it was about, what was it? It was 5,000 and change. So anyway, I bought that. I had a friend of mine in Ramona that had a shop, and he put it in there for me and stuff. And I've got 175,000 or a little over on that motor, and it still runs good.
Wow. So just to me cut in here. So I'm still, my brain is still reeling over so you got a truck for $35 in 1960.
Yep.
So that, even though that's 1960, that's still really cheap. For a vehicle that's what you said 10 years old, because it's and
it looks about like it does now. It had been run hard and put away wet. For 10 years old. Yeah,
it's a 1950 Ford panel truck.
Yeah, it's like it's an F1, which would be the same difference as a half-ton pickup, except that the bed's covered.
So this is like when Ford was using that F numbering convention back then.
Well, 48 was the first year of the F series.
So this is the one.
Yeah, F1.
Oh, wow. Because I just think about that, like, my car's like over 20 years old.
Well, I've driven that truck for 66 years, and I've put over 1 million miles on it.
Between all the motors, yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, but that's just amazing because, to think of a truck that's 10 years old and already in such terrible shape that someone's going to basically scrap it because it's Henry the truck. Okay, you've seen it around. If you don't know who it is, you probably have even seen it. It's yellow. Would you call it yellow?
It's kind of a yellowish cream colored catalyzed primer.
Yeah, it's got a nice patina on it. Yeah, but you see it, you know it. It's like, but now you know that it has a name, and that's Henry the truck, and that's just it's absolutely it's. I'll just say this. I did a video of him showcasing Henry. It's been goodness gracious, well over 2 years or almost 3 years or whatever, and it just hasn't been released. Well, I'm going to do it. It's going to be because I've been at this point in time because you remember that video we did.
Oh yeah, we did several. Yeah.
And I first of all was just not getting it done. But then I realized, okay, well, I want to do interviews. I got this radio station. I want to couple all of these things together. So we got the Denny interviews, and then we're going to have a Denny video, and you'll see him tearing off in his truck, and it's going to be a sight to behold because that thing will pull you back. The G's on that thing are ridiculous. And just so stay tuned for that video to come up, coupled with interviews and stuff, because it's going to finally get released, and it's going to be a good thing. So Henry, you owned it from 10 years on, and you still drive it.
Yes. Yep. Right now it's at the doctor's again, getting redone, and I'm going to have to rebuild the front suspension on it. That's going to be about $1,500 or more. But I won't live long enough to have to redo the front end on it. So
okay.
Seems like every 10 years or so I have to spend $300 or $400 on it. It's been horrible. But
Right. No, it's funny because I was just watching. I watch vintage car videos on YouTube and stuff, and I was watching a video of someone showing him driving his wife's 1960 something Bel Air, daily driver, goes to work every day, 100 miles round trip. He kind of looks kind of beat up, but the thing still runs like an absolute top, and it just minimal maintenance. The thing keeps on going, and it's like that's the thing about these older vehicles. No car payment. Nothing fancy. They just run and run and run.
Well, this truck over the years, I put a Cadillac clip, which most people use Camaro clips because there are more of them. But the Cadillac had bigger disc brakes and a little heavier suspension.
Yeah.
So I put that on it. And I went through several different transmissions in it for the last, 15 years or so. I've run two transmissions, a 65 Chevy truck 4-speed with granny gear, and then in front of that is a 2-speed transmission that's direct and overdrive, and it's 27% overdrive. And what that allows me to do, I used to tow a 26 or 7 foot RV trailer from Borrego to Julian or Julian to Borrego, whichever season it was. And it would pull that trailer like it wasn't even there because the 400 foot-pounds of torque, the 8 speeds forward, and I could just keep that motor between 2,500 and 2,000 RPM, or I could go 3,000, 2,500, or 35, 3,000, whatever I wanted. I didn't need to rev it up a whole bunch because of the torque. But it just... the truck's designed to tow, and it does a really good job, gets decent mileage while it's doing it. So the truck has worked out to be pretty phenomenal as far as reliability and gas mileage, considering the weight, and it has the aerodynamics of a phone booth. But, it has been a really fun truck, and I've certainly enjoyed driving it, and look forward to finishing out my days driving it.
No, and everybody loves encountering it. Every time you're at the circle here, you were selling at our arts and crafts in the park for a little while, and almost every time you'd be surrounded by people who talk about it. It's it's a great conversation starter.
Oh, it attracts people like you wouldn't believe, and that's why I'm going to get these magnetic signs on it and start driving it more, because I can be sitting at Stater Brothers or whatever getting groceries, and I'll sell a few books that way, they get the information off the side of the truck or following it or whatever. And I can't wait to get this portion of the truck's new existence going. So
that's awesome.
It'll be interesting, Yeah,
and I'm wondering if you would because I know Ramona has that Thursday car show. Have you been in that?
I have. I used to go to the Cruising Grand for 18 years or so, and then I kind of got tired of it. But and then on Saturdays there's Cars and Coffee that is outside of Escondido, and they get a whole bunch of people with that. So I think I'll start hitting both of those.
That's awesome.
When I get the truck and the signs done and all of that.
Yeah.
So start doing a little more.
Well, that's great, and the patient goes to the doctor and keeps on living and taking on new life.
Yes.
And that's a big thing I wanted to talk about was the truck and how all that's tied into everything else. So may I see your book here, because I've got a copy of the book right here, and this is all right. So Henry is let's see. Yeah, you've got this here. So I'm going to read a little excerpt from the back here. From That's My Story and I'm Sticking to It, which is the name of the book. And it says, I've been referred to as a storyteller, among other things, and you are a storyteller extraordinaire. You are. He is very interesting to talk to. And he's very accessible. You can approach him. Don't go up on him too fast. He might, But anyway, no, he's very easy to talk to, man. Really, can stop and just chat. He loves that. It's awesome.
Motor mouth is the word you're looking for.
And that's all right. That's fine. I'd rather be like with someone that's like, oh man, it's getting late. I got to go, but I don't want to go, but I have to go. I'd rather do that than a little something out of you would be nice. You know, he doesn't. He says, I don't have a degree in literature. Wouldn't know none of it. Shook hands with me. I love that wording. Nevertheless, I've continued to my writing. People continue to read it. That's true. That's true. I read it. And this is for a reading adventure you never experienced before. Climb in, buckle up, hush up, and hang on. Okay, so when I got a ride in Henry the Truck, this, by the way, That's My Story, and I'm sticking to it by Denny Duvall. It's a great read. But I want to say I want to be able to advertise that, like the progress of it, because you don't know, like you said, you're not sure what's going on with the book right now because but I want to here on the RAM be able to have you share, like you can just keep me updated because I want to like to update people as to when and where they can get it.
I'm hoping. We get it. I've got a new. I was dealing with a publisher back in Canada, actually back east, and I just don't like businesses and things and that I'm working with being so far away. Mm-hmm. So I switched to a publisher that's in San Diego. So
good.
You know, they're less than 2 hours away. I can be there in front of them,
that's
and
perfect.
I think it'll be a nice rapport that we can work together and get this going. But I'm going to guess it's going to take at least a year to get this running and churning and burning.
Okay. Well, very good. And it's worth waiting for because I was going to comment on the sit down, buckle up, and hold on or whatever. Because when he took me for a ride in Henry, and it was really awesome to do that. It really was. This is like, I think it's kind of like the combination of who he is as a writer, and when you read this book and when you kind of get to know who he is, you hear these interviews and then you get into the truck with him, and that all ties in with the exciting experience and the fun experience it is Denny, because he breathed on that gas pedal barely and it just took off, just adding to the fun. Like I got this guy I'm reading about, I'm riding in his truck and we chat off the air a lot, and he's just fun to talk to no matter what, doesn't even need a microphone. And I've often thought of like secretly recording our conversations and putting them on the air, but we would need special approval for that, I think.
Well, yeah, as anybody that knows me, when I call them on the phone, they never put me on speakerphone.
No, that's
because
funny.
There's some 4-letter words or whatever.
Yeah. And it's
just on occasion. There's a possibility that something like that could come out of the speaker. Yeah.
And as a grown up person, I can just say it's spice on it's spice on the entree. It's great. So we went over the book, and then you're writing for the Borrego Sun, and. Let's see what else here, because where are we at here? About 25. Is there a website right now?
No, the website is getting, it'll be henrythetruck.com, but it is not, nothing will come up at the moment because it's all being gone through. But I will let you know personally
that's fine. So,
as soon as it's up and running.
But I knew that there was a henrythetruck.com. I wasn't sure of the status, but I want anyone who's listening to take note of the website because, nothing wrong with saving that link. And then when it goes live, you can just go right to it. So, and just like I did with the ramradio.com, we have the ramradio.com here. It is now live. But, just get the word out early. That's what I want to do. And let's see what else. So any appearances, any places anybody can see where you're.
Well, I had been going. I joined the organization up there on the Circle. Can't think of the name of it, top of my head. But
the Art Guild.
Art Guild. That's the word I'm looking for. And I did okay on that, but it tapered off to where the last 3 times I went there, I didn't sell anything. So I've just kind of got burned out on it. I paid my money all up, and I have no regrets about that. I don't mind supporting them. but I haven't been showing up.
Okay.
There's one coming up tomorrow, and I'm not going to go.
No, that's fine.
But
That's fine.
It is what it is.
And all of this to say, but it sounds like there's a lot that could be up and coming. And like I said, if you see him in Julian, because you live some of the time in Julian, you can be seen out and about in Julian. Or if you see that famous cream, like a cream yellow 1950 Ford panel truck, and you see it there, then that's probably Denny. He doesn't mind chit-chatting and stuff like that. It's just really awesome to talk with this guy. He is an original Borregan, among others I know of, and I know there are many people I don't know here, but I'm honored to know Denny, and I'm happy that you came here to talk to me again.
Well, eventually you'll get tired of me, but we'll just get the most out of it we can.
I absolutely doubt that. But no, we have so again, this is the companion interview to the first one that aired not too long ago, which is his actual history of being in Old Borrego. And now we're talking about Henry, and then his book that he came out with that will be available as soon as humanly possible. And I will tell you about that book when it is available, because I want to push it, promote it, advertise it, whatever. I really want to do that.
Thank you.
So I do. And as the Ram gains more listenership, then more people will find out about it. So if you are listening to this, please tell your friends to savetheramradio.com, because I will have people like him on here. And this is what we want to do, is hyperlocal community radio. That's what we are. And I guess that's about all for now, because there's always, it's not goodbye, it's always see you later.
Yes.
And you're going to be migrating to cooler temperatures very soon. But we can talk on the phone or whatever. So listeners, again, thank you for coming, Denny. This is going to conclude this one for almost a half an hour, and a half hour of absolute pleasure in my opinion.
Well, my pleasure, my friend. I have enjoyed both of these, and looking forward to hopefully maybe even more. Mm-hmm. And we'll see. Hopefully others will enjoy it as well. And, who knows?
Yeah, I know for a fact they will, because people are wondering.
I would insist that they have to give you at least $20 to keep me off of this thing, so you can get a little bit out of it.
No, that's funny. It's going to be great, and it already is. It already is. So that's it. You've been listening to my interview with Denny Duvall number 2. This is Borrego Valley Community Radio, The Ram. We are your hyperlocal, The Ram. And stay tuned to whatever comes next. Since this is a recorded interview, we return you back to your regularly scheduled programming. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like the vast Anza Borrego Desert State Park, the Ram Radio is headquartered in beautiful Borrego Springs, yet stretches across the far reaches of the San Diego backcountry and streaming worldwide. We are Borrego Valley Community Radio, The Ram. Listen local or take us wherever you go at theramradio.com.